always felt like you should be in control of your own destiny and be informed. And I think that's why I took the path that I did.
Hey, Richard, how are you?
I'm good. Yourself?
We're doing well, man. You know, another day in quarantine. How's everything going over on your side?
It's solid. Quarantine is what it is. And, just making the best of it.
You've had quite a successful career, both on the Seahawks and most recently on the 49ers. One of the things that we've noticed that you've been kind of talking a lot about through your career is just this idea that, you are your own essentially agent. So can you talk a little bit about like when you first kind of started joining the league, how the process went, what your point of view is?
The better informed you are about what's going on in your career and your contract, the better decisions you'll make and the better it will be for you long term. And I think that's the problem with a lot of guys in our league is that they don't necessarily take responsibility for everything that goes on in their lives, whether it's their finances, their marketing, their contracts. And so it leaves them handicapped once they leave because they're always dependent on somebody for those things. Somebody always handles it. Somebody does their finance. Somebody's always written their contracts and read it for them. Somebody's always managed their finances, their stocks, their investments. And so once you're done with the game and you're done, having people run those things for you, you're left handicapped. So that's why I've always felt like I need to be informed early on and educate myself.
I'm Richard Sherman, and I'm informing people. Listen up. This is how you get out of credit card debt. This is how you budget. This is everything you can do to avoid payday loans.
When you're talking to other players that are kind of in the rookie season or about to get drafted, are they calling you for help, or how would you, what would you tell somebody that's younger about to join the league?
Well, different people have different levels of preparedness. Some guys come in and they've been educated and they've been taught how to manage money, how to budget, how to write checks, how to pay bills, how important credit is, and so they have a better starting foundation. Other guys come in and they don't have that same foundation. But also, it's in the same respect, they have people around them that usually help them with things like that. And you just try to make sure they're not getting taken advantage of. But there aren't many guys who just call me like, hey, man, I need help with this, and this. Guys that inquire, usually inquire about things they're already involved in, or once they hit like a bump in the road, maybe you help with them. But a lot of them, like I said, depend on the people that they've hired.
Right. A lot of people, when they hear finance or budgeting or trying to talk about anything related to money, you see their eyes gloss over. Oh man, I don't really want to deal with that. It's, leave it to the experts. How do you think you can make investing or money management something as fun as the NFL and the game itself?
I don't know if I'm the right person to answer that question because I don't have an answer that I think, would be great for that question. I'm not sure finances will ever be as exciting as a game when you're cheering for something. And even the people who know it well, people that delve in the stock market and are lifers, couldn't really articulate it in a way that ideally when you're making money, like, hey, invest $100,000, now I have 120,000. You made 20,000 a day. It's exciting to know that you've made more money and you have more money in your account. But I don't think the concept of speaking about it or seeing it is necessarily exciting. So I'm not sure I have an answer on how to make that more exciting.
Well, hopefully your new show, Adulting with Richard Sherman with Million Stories Media that premieres starting in about 2 weeks will hopefully help make things a little bit more exciting around money and with your help in it. I guess, speaking a little bit more about, the path that you've been on, something that we've heard you say before is that you save about 60% of your money. As somebody who has quite an attractive and a lucrative contract. And, you could have gone a different route, when you were negotiating that. What do you say when, people, I guess the question is like, what do you, when people are looking at the safe route to take, or they can have an incentive-based contract, whether it's for the game or anything in life, how would you kind of help provide, how would you advise anybody that's kind of looking at a decision and how to look at that, for themselves?
We live in society where a lot of people want the safest route, the lowest risk, but the highest reward. And that's not how things work. If you're going to play the safe route, then you can understand that you have quite a lower ceiling on your potential earnings and gains than a person who takes a greater risk and bets on themselves and bets that they'll be as successful as they believe they'll be. Now is there greater risk, and that they won't achieve the finances that the financial gains that they anticipate? Truly. But I think some people mitigate that risk with the thought that they'll gain much more. Like, and my example would be, I could have got a contract of $9 or $10 million straight up, and it been fine. Hey, you'll make $10 million. Whether you play well or whether you don't play well, cool. Or I can take a contract where I could potentially make $13 million if I play as well as I want, and then if I don't play as well as I want, I'll make $8. So, I think it's just different people built different ways.
Yeah, totally. And we respect that. I mean, and even seeing some of your most recent investments, we'd love to hear a little bit about, what you're doing with that money. Are we read somewhere that you bought Tesla around like $30 or $40. Do you still involved in the stock market and placing some investments there?
I stopped dealing with the stock market probably my rookie or second year. I don't believe in it the way most people do. Tesla was just an investment that I was in the Silicon Valley. I went to Stanford. I was very aware of the company and the technology that they were developing when I was in school. And so once they went public, I knew they'd do well, and I had the information and the knowledge of the company. So I felt comfortable making an investment, but I got out way earlier than I should have. But I don't touch the stock market anymore. Just like right now, most people don't understand how everybody's going broke and the economy's going downhill, and somehow the stock market and people are still making money in the stock market. It doesn't make sense to me, and until it does, I won't touch it.
Got it. So is there anything that you are looking forward to that you do know a thing, that you know a little bit about, that you're looking to, that you think could be the next Tesla, whether it's a private company or are you focused on, helping with, the financial literacy side with budgeting? And
no, I mean, I'm always focused on the financial literacy, but I think the thing I'm focused on most right now is real estate. I believe the real estate market's going to crash and it's going to tumble. And when it does, I'll be happy to buy more properties and rent them out and ride the wave back up to the top as they grow. But that's the only thing I'm focused on at the moment.
All right. How much real estate do you own right now?
In terms of,
or just like number of houses, or number, like, are you actively investing in real estate as an investment vehicle, or are you waiting for that moment to come?
I'm waiting. We took out a nice line of credit for when it crashes, but once the pandemic happened, we put a pause on it. We were about to buy 4 properties to rent this off season, and the pandemic hit. There's no rush to buy it and then watch the market crash on properties we just purchased. So that's why we've been hesitant and going to take our time to let things play out more before we purchase the properties, and hopefully we'll get a better deal.
Got it. And when you say we, is that, you and your friends, or is that you with some of your business partners? One of the things that we encourage here over at Bullish is for people to kind of talk about different investing ideas and little, thoughts that they have, and bouncing them off a few friends to be able to describe that investment to somebody else, whether it's stock or real estate. Who's your network of people that you're working with to make sure that what you're doing is the right one?
It's a ton of people. It's friends, it's mentors, it's business partners. So it's not just one specific group of people. All of them have different experiences and are involved in different projects. And some of them we're involved in together, and others we're not. But their advice is just as valuable.
When it comes to some of your friends, how's been the off season, or the kind of break in the season per se that's been happening with the league? How is it, having to, keep the kind of team camaraderie that you foster, and we know that energy that we love from you. How's it been, with keeping in touch with some of your colleagues and players?
Well, it's been the same. I think obviously. Technology is being what it is, and, being able to FaceTime and call and have conversations, and how deep we went into the season. I think that it's been fine. It's been great. We'll take off right where we left off when we start training camp. I think if we hadn't have made it that deep and we wouldn't have had the extra month of playing football and building friendships and that camaraderie, then maybe things would be different. But I think things have been great. I've been in communication with a lot of my teammates and having conversations, and we're part of a bunch of group chats, and they're always entertaining. So things have been great.
That's great. And then obviously, you've been outspoken on player safety most recently. If you could, have a meeting with Roger Goodell, what would be the first couple of things that you talk about with him?
Well, I honestly just was in a meeting with Roger and a few other owners not too long ago. So, but a lot of what we talked about is confidential. So I guess surface level stuff, I don't know if I'd have anything to say to him honestly right now. Got
it. Do you feel like things are trending in the right direction?
In terms of what?
In terms of keeping players safe, we've heard that obviously you want the game, should be safer for, your kids and then your kids' kids. Do you feel like the league is making all the right necessary moves in order to, think about player safety and, and make sure that we're able to have a league and extend the life of, the average player in the NFL by a couple of years?
I guess to some degree, as public pressure mounts and people have those conversations and more studies come out about, brain injury and dementia and CTE and things of that nature, I'm sure public sentiment will continue to pressure them into changing the way they do things. But at the end of the day, this is an inherently violent game, and you know what you sign up for. So, they'll make it as safe as possible, but, your human body isn't built to run into one another and do some of the things that are done on the football field. So there's no way to totally take out risk or mitigate it in that way.
Mm-hmm. Got it. All right. Yeah. I guess, we've heard a lot about money and investing, and, you've obviously spoken about it. What are a few things that you really like to spend money on where you don't have any shame in saying, I have no problem spending a couple bucks, whether it's experiences or food or, items? What's something that brings you joy?
Vacations bring me a lot of joy. And, going on a nice vacation and getting that experience, whether it's, taking hikes and or riding horses or whatever the experience is, if it's something new and unique, it brings me joy and fulfillment. I have no problem spending whatever it costs.
What are some trips that you've been on recently that you'd recommend for somebody that wants to live the life of Richard Sherman?
Well, we're planning on going to Egypt this off season, but obviously COVID didn't allow that. But that was supposed to be the trip we were taking, that and back to the Cayman Islands. The Cayman Islands is always a great trip. That's one of my favorite places to go. So I guess if you're trying to go somewhere to be low key and have a great time and have a great experience, Cayman Islands is a small island between Jamaica and Cuba that's filled with great people and great things to do.
Totally. Cool. Well, yeah, that sounds great. I'd love to, a beach sounds great right about now instead of stuck in the middle of sweaty New York City. So, does that sound great? I guess a couple more questions just to finish it up. You've been a big fan of crypto. What's your take on it? Obviously, things have changed the last couple of years. Are you still involved in it? Involved in any companies with it? We'd love to hear an update on that.
Well, we had been, and they just stopped producing crypto, and I kind of got out of it just like the stock market. We had a good beat on it, and things were pretty consistent for a while, and then things got really volatile for a while there, and I just got out of the space because it's ever evolving, and you can see the future and you can see what it's going to become, but it's just not there yet, and so I had to pull out. And just let it continue to mature. And once it gets to where it needs to be, then we'll get back into that space. But crypto is so hot and cold right now, at least in my opinion. But I had to pull out of it.
Got it. All right, nice. Well, hey Richard, thank you very much for taking the time. We really appreciate it. On behalf of everybody here at Bullish, we're stoked to see your new show hopefully in the next 2 weeks, I believe. Is there anything that you want to leave us with about the show that you can tease on what we can expect?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be great. It's going to be entertaining. I think it's always cool for somebody to step outside of their normal comfort zone in the industry and try to simplify something and make it make sense for other people. And finances is one of those things that's so taboo that nobody ever wants to speak about. And we're going to try to break down how you speak about that to other people and how you deal with with budgeting and finances and a lot of the simple things that people need to be informed on. I'm excited. This is going to be a cool series. It'll be out, like you said, in a couple of weeks. We partnered with the Singleton Foundation for Financial Literacy and Entrepreneurship, and it can be found on millionstories.com, which is a free digital channel. So check it out.
Can we expect to see more financial content from you, similar to the work that you're doing with Million Stories Media?
Definitely. I think, I always want to speak on things I'm comfortable with. So the more we do, the more experiences I have, the more personal experience I have having success in the financial space, the more I'll try to inform others. So I look forward to being more involved in producing more content.
Great. Well, Richard, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it. Again, on behalf of everybody here at Bullish, and we look forward to seeing you on the field sometime soon.
Thank you very much. You guys have a great one.
You too. Bye-bye.
I'm Richard Sherman, and I'm informing people. Every whooping comes with a lesson. This is your lesson. As a kid in South Central, I don't know how I'm going to get myself out of it, but I worked hard, got some good direction from great parents, and got to Sanford, and the rest is history. So get your picks up, get your money up, and go out and buy a car. Easy. But you got to do your research, and you got to stay within your limits. Know your limits. You got to know what you're capable of. How adult am I? Listen up. This is how you get out of credit card debt. This is how you budget. This is everything you can do to avoid payday loans. It hits so close to home for me. As a person who comes from a family that went bankrupt twice, it's really important for me to make sure that the next generation doesn't fall into those same pitfalls. Action. You're the breadwinner. You're the adult. Go do it.
If you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to Bullish.